The state of Ohio recently introduced a bill, House Bill 413, that would basically make it illegal for any abortions to happen in that state, and the providers, as well as women and children over 13, the providers and people receiving those abortions could be faced with life imprisonment, and it gets worse from there. This also relates to something called an ectopic pregnancy, which is where the egg attaches to the fallopian tube instead of the uterus. This bill would require doctors to reimplant that egg that was attached to the fallopian tube to the woman's uterus, something that is medically impossible and has been pointed out to these right-wing conservative fundamentalist wackos in Ohio, and obviously other states that have tried to pass just insane these insane things into law. So this is from The Guardian. A bill to ban abortion introduced in the Ohio State Legislature requires doctors to reimplant an ectopic pregnancy into a woman's uterus, a procedure that does not exist in medical science, or face charges of abortion murder. And this is a quote again from The Guardian. This is the second time practicing obstetricians and gynecologists have tried to tell the Ohio legislators that the idea is currently medically impossible. And this is from a obstetrician and gynecologist, Dr. David Hackney. I don't believe I'm typing this again, but that's impossible. We'll all be going to jail, he said. That was from a Twitter post he had made. And the ectopic pregnancy thing is, like a life-threatening condition, and if the woman, doesn't, I guess, get that egg taken off the fallopian tube, it can kill them if that quote embryonic tissue grows unchecked. So, and then this House Bill 413 also defines a fertilized egg as a unborn child. So removing that egg, even though it can literally kill the woman that is carrying this egg on their fallopian tube, literally it can kill them if that egg is removed, because it would then be considered a an unborn child. The abortion provider could be charged with murder in that case, face life in prison, as well as the person receiving the abortion services, as well as children over 13 years old. And in Ohio, this isn't just like middle of America, and this these ridiculous laws are trying to be passed to limit a woman's right of what she can and can't do sorry, I'm gonna get some water, with her own body and what's in it. If a woman chooses to have an abortion, that should be her right as a fully autonomous human who has the right to do with her own body what she wants. Obviously, up to a certain point, I guess, with the late-term abortions or whatnot. But this bill specifically is about a fertilized egg attached to a woman's fallopian tube, if not removed, can kill the woman who is carrying it. So equating that fertilized egg with a as being a full human being, comparable to the rights of that mother who's carrying that egg, that's insane and should not go into law at all, for sure. Just another example of the extreme kind of fundamentalist Christian. I wouldn't necessarily call that Christian, because I think if Jesus was alive today, he would be calling out these people as religious zealots and false prophets, and not living up to his teachings, or definitely not his teachings, for sure. So it's just very, very, troubling bill. I don't believe it's been passed into law. I think it's maybe just been introduced. There, I guess, was 19 co-sponsors. The Guardian tried to reach out, but they didn't reply for requests. And Ohio also passed a 6-week abortion ban last summer, which basically, I think women who have, after 6 weeks, they wouldn't be able to get an abortion. So the so-called, heartbeat bill, which so is obviously already very, very restrictive, because after that point, then I think it would be, some type of crime to get abortion services. And then this is just kind of going further and further along that path to, well, this bill would obviously outlaw it completely, and like I said, the people providing abortions as well as the people receiving them could face life in prison for a woman's rights and a woman's health care issue that should be decided between them and their health care provider and nobody else. The government has no role whatsoever in this type of legislation. So it's just insane, and definitely hope this doesn't get passed. But obviously it seems like the Ohio legislator is pretty conservative, considering that they did pass that 6-week kind of abortion ban. Was that earlier? Yeah, last summer. So yeah, insane. So we'll see what happens with it. So again, it's not even what the Ohio legislator is calling for, as pointed out in this Guardian piece, is not medically possible at all. This is quoting another OBGYN. There's no procedure to implant an ectopic pregnancy. This is Dr. Chris Zan. It is not possible to move an ectopic pregnancy from fallopian tube or anywhere else where it might have been planted to the uterus. Reimplantation is not physiologically possible. Women with ectopic pregnancies are at risk of catastrophic hemorrhage and death in the setting of an ectopic pregnancy, and treating the ectopic pregnancy can certainly save a mom's life. So there you go. The medical science does not support that at all. And again, it's a woman's rights, a woman's healthcare issue that they can decide whether they want to have abortions or not, and that should be a decision that they make themselves and consult, with a healthcare provider.